Bill Wegman of Real Clear Politics squares off with Karine Jean-Pierre regarding MAGA Republicans being semi-fascist. We have Don Lemon of CNN doubling down with the White House, calling Republicans semi-fascist. All that and more here on The Bald Brad Show. Welcome to The Bald Brad Show. It is Friday, September 2nd, and as always, I couldn't be happier than to be doing The Bald Brad Show and hanging out with all of you, my friends and true American patriots, where we come together as a community of conservatives and Republicans, and heck, according to Joe Biden and Karine Jean-Pierre, also fascists. So if you want to join us here at The Bald Brad Show, and we hope that you do, hit that like and subscribe button. If you're over at Rumble, hit the plus and give us a comment down below. And if you're listening on any of the podcast airwaves, Apple, Google, Spotify, heck folks, you can listen to us anywhere and everywhere. Leave us a lovely 5-star review. Not only would you be helping a conservative, but most importantly, you'd be supporting getting conservative thought and ideas out there to new viewers who haven't seen our content or our channel. So your help and support would be greatly appreciated. With that being said, folks, it's actually a pretty short show today. We got 2 clips here I want to show you. The White House is doubling down on calling Republicans fascists. You have Don Lemon of CNN that's supposed to be unbiased, calling Republicans fascists as well, saying, where's the lie? It's truly mind-blowing, you guys, if you really think about it. We just spent about 4 or 5 years watching Black Lives Matter, whose leaders are Marxists, self-acclaimed Marxists, by the way. You have Antifa that masquerades as anti-fascist, but implement fascist tactics. They just got done spending 4 or 5 years burning down our cities, black businesses, restaurants, spending upwards of, $7 billion of damages. That wasn't fascist whatsoever. But then they're going to try to say, well, whatever happened January 6th was pure fascism, authoritarianism, nationalism. And if you're a MAGA Republican and you still vote for Donald Trump, now you're ipso facto fascist as well. Regardless of if all Republicans think what happened January 6th wasn't a good thing, it was a bad thing, shouldn't have been done. But you're going to call out, I don't know, however many people went inside the Capitol that one day and barely did any damage at all. You're going to compare that, or I should say lack thereof comparing it, to what just got done happening for 4 years. Like actually taking over entire zones of cities called the Autonomous Zone by Antifa, where you couldn't go in and out. If you're a first responder, people are dying, there's murder, there's a rape, there's drug use. But they're not going to call that fascism. I mean, that was actually literally fascism. But it's amazing how they just throw this word around willy-nilly and actually don't know what it's talking about. So here we have Phil Wegman, and I'm going to try to get him more spotlight here on the Bald Brad Show. He's one of the few reporters that actually been growing on me. He's from Real Clear Politics. He has been on Fox News before. We've showed him here on the channel. But he questions Karine Jean-Pierre here regarding the idea of calling certain Republican leaders semi-fascist, but not calling others fascist. And kind of where's the separation there? Because it's not very clear. According to Karine Jean-Pierre, as we saw the other day, Biden has been clear on this. Supposedly, he hasn't been clear. We're all confused, and Phil Wegman tries to clear it up here. Let's go ahead and roll it.
And then I'll come around. Phil. Okay, Phil.
Thanks, Karine. Returning to our discussion yesterday, following up on some of the things that you said today, I just want to clarify, does the president believe that the effort to restrict abortion, to restrict that freedom, is semi-fascism?
Say that. How is this connected to yesterday? I'm just trying to think.
So in terms of extremism, the extremism conversation that we were having yesterday, does the president believe that the effort to restrict abortion, whether it's at the local level or the federal level, to restrict that freedom, does he believe that that is semi-fascist?
I mean, he was very clear. He was very clear that MAGA Republicans in Congress have an agenda that is extreme. And that's what you hear from them. The national ban on abortion is extreme, and also is not in line with where a majority of Americans are. It is just not. It is taking away people's rights. It is taking away people's freedoms. And, he believes that.
I'm not going to beat a dead horse with this, but for anybody that's an avid viewer of the Bald Brad Show, we've talked about Griswold v. Connecticut. We've talked about Roe v. Wade at length. Those rights never existed. I know I've repeated myself on this show. Just because the Supreme Court created rights, which they can't do, they found rights within the emanations of the Bill of Rights, some shadows and penumbras. They just found them willy-nilly, even though it evaded 176 years of the founders and other legislatures, just created them out of whole cloth. Those rights never existed. And she's going to say that's authoritarian. she's going to say that's fascism. But it's weird here because she's calling out MAGA Republicans are fascist. What about the Supreme Court justices? What about that? Is that fascist then too? I mean, because we're going through a democracy and a republic here in terms of instituting, removing what supposedly those rights were existing before and saying, hey, it turns out, well, those aren't legit, so we're going to remove them. Can't find them anywhere. But somehow by going through a republic and a democracy, through our Supreme Court, now all of a sudden that's authoritarianism. It's a threat to democracy, and now you're a fascist somehow. It's no wonder Phil's asking the question here because everybody's confused on this one.
It is an extreme agenda. You've heard that from him directly. I don't even need to confirm that from here. He's actually talked about how extreme it is. When we saw what was done with the Dobbs decision on June 24th, to take away a right that people had for 50 years, a constitutional right for 50 years, that women had to make a decision for themselves on their health care. And so, yeah, we see that as extreme.
So, but I'm trying to figure out which bucket in particular to put it in, because the administration as well as the president has used different language here. There's extremism, and then there's also the semi-fascism moniker that he used. I mean, this is an effort that's been around for a long time. Does he believe that this movement, working through whether it's the state legislature or Congress, is in either of those buckets?
When we talk about semi-fascism and you talk about the attack on our democracy, that's what we're talking about, right? An attack on our democracy. That's what we're seeing. Attack on our freedoms. That's what we're seeing from the MAGA Republicans in Congress. That is what they're doing. That is, when you're talking about inciting violence, that is an attack on our democracy. And when you're
Isn't that amazing? Because both her and Jen Psaki wouldn't denounce what they were doing by inciting violence on our Supreme Court justices because they were protesting outside their houses, if you recall. What an amazing hypocritical statement coming from her as well as her predecessors as well. It's just, she's not even going to call out her own party with Maxine Waters literally telling people to go out in the streets and find Trump supporters. And that's why they targeted Ted Cruz, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, amongst others. But she's not going to call that out. She's not going to call out Antifa for burning down cities, clubbing police officers, clubbing and beating, almost killing people like Andy Ngo, the reporter. No, that's all okay because it fits their agenda. It's only when Republicans do something idiotic like storm the Capitol, now all of a sudden you got this whole shenanigans going.
See a mob that is attacking the Capitol, and you don't call that out, or you call it out one day and then change your mind the other day.
Nobody's doing
that. What message are you saying about our democracy?
But specifically with regards to limiting these freedoms, I guess my question is, the Supreme Court created this space for the anti-abortion movement at the state level and also perhaps at the federal level to try and restrict this freedom. Where do they fit into all of this? How would the president describe them after that decision? Were they just extremists, or were they, part and parcel of a semi-fascist?
Look,
freaking phenomenal question from Phil here. And I love it because he's trying to follow a linear logic and she's just completely all over the place, meaning their lack of logic and reason on just every grounds of what she's saying. They're hypocritical statements. She's dodging the question. She's saying Joe Biden's been clear about this, even though he hasn't been clear. It's just, there's been nobody in terms of, give us the names then. Who do you think are the fascists then? Because if it's not a blanket statement on Republicans, which I believe you'll see in a moment, she's going to give basically a blanket statement and call all of us fascists. But if it's not all of us, then who is it specifically? Give us a list of names here so that you can be clear and be specific, but she's not going to. It's the same idea when the left just shout racism out there, and they'll shout institutional racism, but they don't want to give you the institutions. And if they do give you the institutions, they don't want to give you the names within those institutions or the bylaws that are in those institutions that are actually racist and how are they racist. They don't want to do any of that because that's too specific. It's too clear. As long as they keep things broad, it works for their narrative, and that's their agenda, and that's their strategy and tactic they've been implementing for decades now.
Here's what I'll say. We continue to see attacks on people's fundamental rights, right, of Americans with new abortion laws across the country. And when you have national Republicans who are leaders in their political party, who sit in office, who say that they want to take away the rights, even in case of incest, in case in case of rape, and taking away a woman's right to make a decision on her body. That's extreme, and the president's.
I just want to clarify, and this is a good thing for all of you to be aware of. Whenever the left, the progressive left or Democrats utilize certain topics, especially around abortion, they use what we call outliers. Surprising, a lot of people don't know what outliers are in statistics. Outlier is when you have certain data values that are so far away from the cluster of the data itself that they're not even representative of actual data in the population. For example, if I said, hey, about 95% of my students got A's on the exam, 5% got F's. Well, those F's are outliers. They're not an actual representation of the population as a whole in terms of how well my students did. But if you just had somebody that hyper-focused on those F's, you'd be like, well, Bald Brad sucks at teaching. Look at those F's that he got. We should cater all our policies, everything that we create around those F's. Every agenda, all the lessons should be just catered around that 5% of F's. Disregard the other 95%. What they do here, they're hyper-focusing on incest as well as rape, which accounts for, if we were to upball it, 1% of abortions. The other 99, literally 99% of abortions are basically due to because it's an inconvenience for the individual. The vast majority of abortions are literally because of an inconvenience. It's amazing how she's going to point to that 1%, but disregard and call that extreme, but disregard literally the other 99% of killing a baby at the point of coming out of the womb. This far out of the vaginal canal, she is for killing that baby. That's not extreme to her. There are Democrats out there that are for actually delivering the kid and killing it still as it's screaming and whining, breathing air, the whole shebang. They're still for killing it. That's not extreme to them. The 99% of abortions aren't extreme to them. It's only that 1%. Help me follow the logic in that one, because I'm just bewildered by it. By the way, I used to be pro-choice for like literally the majority of my life.
Going to call that out. He's going to continue to do everything that he can to make sure that we protect people's freedoms. He's going to do everything that he can to call that out. And that is important to call out. That is important to talk about. And again, we see majority of Americans who disagree. And so when you are not with where majority of Americans are, then, that is extreme. That is an extreme way of thinking. I'm not going to, that's what I have for you, Phil. I just laid out what he's going to talk about. It's not a political part. It's not about a political person. It's not about a political party. It's about where we are currently today where we are currently today with our democracy. Right?
All right. Thanks, Grace.
I don't know if you caught it, folks. I know I was pausing it a lot. Not only based on what she said, because she didn't outright call MAGA Republicans actual fascists and extremists, right? Because Phil Wegman is trying to get the connection here between extremists, MAGA Republicans, where everybody fits, which boxes the Supreme Court in, versus MAGA Republican leaders that are in Congress versus the actual just generic Republicans like myself and conservatives. If you caught it, she literally labeled the Supreme Court extremists based on their abortion. She called all MAGA Republicans extremists and all Republicans and conservatives extremists. In a nutshell, because the way they've been talking, both her and Biden, they're putting them hand in hand, meaning fascists and extremists hand in hand, one together. So without actually saying point blank that she's calling you a fascist, meaning just all conservatives, Republicans, if you vote for Donald Trump, you're a fascist. If you're thinking about voting conservative and you agree with the Supreme Court's ruling, you're a fascist. If you agree with both of those and you want to vote Republican, conservative, Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, who wanted the same Supreme Court decision as all of us did, all pro-lifers, you're an extremist and a fascist. If you're a pro-lifer, you're an extremist and fascist. That's how that works. So it was a blanket statement, but this is supposed to be the great unifier. You remember the whole message of hope that Barack Obama gave us? Oh, we're done with racism. We're done with all this stuff. Everybody agreed. Yeah, we have a black attorney general. We had a black president. We all agree that racism is pretty much not a major issue here in the United States. Somehow that changed and reverted, and now here we are back to all of it again. Now it's fascist, it's racist, it's xenophobic, it's homophobic. You're going after the LGBT community. It's gaslighting. It's lying straight through her teeth. And she's going to continue to peddle this stuff because no Democrats are going to call her out. And it's amazing how she goes, well, no Republicans are condemning, in a nutshell, are condemning the January 6th. I condemn January 6th. I mean, Ben Shapiro can only be so clear. I literally actually don't know an outlet. I can't even think off the top of my head out of all the conservatives I've listened to and Republicans. I don't know a single show that thinks that January 6th was a good idea. We have all said, all of us have said, that it was a debacle. It should have never happened. It's a stain on the Republican Party. It's a stain on conservatives. And that we don't even think that those that actually did what they did would be considered, and we wouldn't want them in our party in the first place. It was wrong and it should have never happened. I don't know how more clear we can be about it, that we weren't all for it. We didn't like it. Those people went to jail. They got in trouble as they should have. What more do you want, lady? It's just frustrating as heck that they just keep continuing to do this. And you got to thank the idiots, all the idiots that decided to storm the Capitol, all of them. I don't care about the ones that necessarily went on the outside. It was more so the ones that went on the inside. The ones that went on the inside and did those knucklehead things, and now we're freaking having to deal with this shenanigans and all this crap because of the things they did. Frustrating as heck, folks, but that's not going to stop Democrats from doubling down here on all this stuff regarding MAGA Republicans being fascist, because now we got CNN anchor Don Lemon defending President Joe Biden's use of the term semi-fascism to describe MAGA Republicans, arguing the president's comments were unifying because some believe they are true. Yes, you heard that correctly. He thinks that those comments are unifying by calling MAGA Republicans, and like Karine Jean-Pierre, like we just saw, virtually just calling you and I, Republicans in general, semi-fascist, which if you just read about fascism, for the love of God, read about fascism coming from Mussolini getting kicked out of the Socialist Party, in a nutshell, forming fascism himself. You explain to me how that historical whole action and series that took place correlates to MAGA Republicans today. It's freaking very hard. You can hands down make a better argument for the progressive left and the Democrat Party being considered fascist than you could Republicans being fascist, easily. Attaching it to Democratic history of the Democrat Party, connecting to Antifa, connecting to Black Lives Matter, their tactics, their strategies, even down to the attire that they wear. It's much, much easier to make that connection to fascism to them than it is to Republicans. It's not going to stop Don Lemon, though. But we have this clip here with Don Lemon on CNN, supposedly unbiased, by the way. Unbiased, most trustworthy news source out here, CNN. You know, the most sourced news outlet out there. You can trust everything they say. They're unbiased.
Remember, he ran his campaign on, I'm going to unify the country. His message to the nation was, we're all in this together. I'm going to unify the country. And now he's out saying two things. One, lots of y'all are fascists. And by the way, if you vote Republican, there's a decent chance that our democracy is no longer going to exist. These are not unifying messages by any stretch.
But he can't turn a blind eye to that. I think you and I both agree he's doing it from a place of weakness.
Can the unifying message be that some of what he's saying is true? Because there are a lot of people, I got to tell you, Scott, a lot of folks who go, where's the lie? I don't see no lies detected.
I think there are 70, 80 million Americans who would say, just because I choose to vote Republican doesn't make me a fascist, and it doesn't make me want our democracy.
Scott, I got to be honest with you, he did not call all Republicans fascists. And 80 million Americans, he said MAGA Republicans, extreme. And he made it into distinction, and he also pointed out Republicans who were not part.
So if I vote for Donald Trump, I would be considered a MAGA Republican. Vast majority of Republicans are going to vote for Donald Trump. So then you would be lumped into that MAGA Republican. This is what they do, is because they don't want to get in trouble here. They want to try and sparse their words and create a broad spectrum here. They're just saying MAGA Republicans. They've called all us Republicans racist, but now they're gaslighting us, making it seem like there's a difference between just you and I, average Joe Republicans, and specifically conservatives, who, yes, would vote for Ron DeSantis, Ted Cruz. But look, we're going to vote for Trump if he runs. If DeSantis runs, there's a conversation to be had when that happens. But you're being lumped in this, folks. Don't believe what they are saying. They think you're a fascist. They think that you are a threat to democracy. You could see it through us censoring us on social media. They censor Bald Brad Show subscribers. Read the comments every once in a while. You'll see people post, it's amazing how I write one comment, it gets removed, but here's a different one, and this one stays up. I'm not deleting them. And I get that all the time. You guys are being unsubscribed. Check your bell notification, folks, because they're turning that off on you as well. I guarantee you that you probably clicked it. Go look right now and see if the bell notification is on to see if you get notified when I upload. I have people right now that have the bell notification on that don't get notified. We ran a survey here on the community tab. The like 70% of my subscribers don't get notifications even though the bell notification is on. Folks, we upload like 5 videos a day. We upload like 25 to almost 30 videos a week. And we get 100 viewers with about over 12,000 subscribers. I've had 100 viewers since I started the show with less than 1,000 subscribers. So nothing's changed even though you get more subscription base. The numbers don't make sense. I'm just saying, and it's amazing how all of you also are being censored as well because they don't like what you say. They don't like the narratives that are being pushed because it goes against their agenda. But we're the fascists, right? We're the semi-fascists. We're the extremists, not them. Amazing.
Of what you're saying. Look, I know it's a good campaign.
Listen, why is it up to Joe Biden to divide up the Republicans? When Republicans go to the voting
Well, he's
booth,
running.
But listen.
Okay, Scott, listen. No, listen. The former president every single day talks shit about everybody, including other presidents, including members of his own party, probably you on CNN, and now everybody is all of a sudden they've got the vapors about one statement that Joe Biden made in the entire year and a half of his presidency.
They're not the ones.
It's just, spare me the.
But Republicans aren't the ones who had Joe Biden out every day saying, "I'm going to unify the country. We're all in this together. We're not enemies."
But so unifying the country is also telling the truth, Scott. He's telling the truth about what is happening in the country. For the most part, I'm not saying that everybody's a fascist. Listen, hang on. I'm not even saying. I don't think it was the best thing for him to use that language. But you have to call a thing a thing. You have to call it what it is. You can't, that is unifying by bringing people around to the reality of what is.
I don't agree with his language, but then he's going to say that same language is unifying the country and that we should call a thing a thing. So then you do agree with his language because you want to call a thing, and that very thing is calling MAGA Republicans and Republicans and conservatives in general that vote for Donald Trump fascists. So in the same sentence, he literally contradicted himself and just tried to gaslight all of us once again as if, oh, well, I don't agree with his language, but a thing's a thing. Remember, this guy says that he is unbiased. Does that sound unbiased to any of you? Because it sure doesn't to me. By the way, his last statement at the end was him saying, I'm in so much trouble. It's not on the clip here. It's on a separate clip. But Chris Litch is watching, who's like the new CEO or whatever of CNN that's basically just got done firing Brian Stelter for his abysmal ratings on the, what is it called? The reliable sources. What a name. But it's amazing how Don Lemon somehow in his mind concocts that it's the Republicans that are a threat to democracy, but not the Democrat Party. Look, literally what's going on. They wanted to pack the court. They're trying to strip your First Amendment rights slowly. They're trying to strip actively in the House of Representatives your Second Amendment rights. We literally have seen that. Just because you want a baby to be born, you're an extremist. And you don't even have to be an actual conservative or a MAGA Republican for that. Hell, you're just an extremist if you're pro-life now because you want somebody to live. God forbid that happens. I mean, you honest to God, outside the show, you try to wrap your head around this logic and try to connect things. And like Phil Wegman of Real Clear Politics, just trying to get a clear answer. Who are the fascists? Be specific. MAGA Republicans? I want to make America great again. I'm sure all of you do. And I'm a Republican, so am I a fascist? Because I don't think I am. I don't support fascism. I don't like fascism. I'm against fascism, along with socialism. But what's interesting is fascism is an outbranch, an outgrowth of socialism. Who has the most socialists in their party? Oh, it's the Democrat Party. That's right. Yeah, you have AOC, Bernie Sanders, Ilhan Omar, the Squad, and the rest. Elizabeth Warren pushing socialist ideas on top of Joe Biden. Interesting how that works, huh? Fascism, an outgrowth of socialism from Mussolini's time. Somehow it's just rising up in the Democrat Party. But no, you're right. We're a threat to democracy. Now that makes clear sense, Jet. Just totally linear logic there. Obviously, I'm being facetious and sarcastic, but it's just a relentless time that we live in where we're being gaslit, we're being lied to, and they won't let up on the brake. And Democrats won't call out their own party. I guarantee you, if I can get something here, I will call out the Republicans for things I don't like. I'm not freaking beholden to Donald Trump or freaking Ron DeSantis, Ted Cruz. Do I like the things they do? Yeah, but the moment they do something wrong, I will call them out here. Donald Trump, I didn't like spending. I'm not a big fan of his rhetoric. I think it's funny at times. I voted for the guy and I'll vote for him again because I love the way he runs this country. He runs it phenomenal.
Okay, he says silly ass things, but I'm telling you, CNN is fake news. The lights in the back just went off. I can't wait for him to come back. Mar-a-Lago just got raided. I'm going to investigate all you assholes.
I can't wait for Trump to come back. But folks, it's Friday. I wanted to keep a little bit short. Thank you so much for your love and support. I do plan on actually calling YouTube shortly, whether that's this week or next week, because we got to figure out what's going on here with the Bald Brad Show, because the numbers are just phenomenal. But it just doesn't make sense that my subscribers are being unsubscribed, their bell notifications are being turned off, and your comments are being deleted. I'm not doing any of that. The only comments, I've been so clear, the only comments I delete are some random porn link things that they're in Spanish and all this other weird stuff that I don't know how the hell get on there. So I'm there with all of you. I see your comments. I read them. If you're unsure about something, email me. My email's in the description. I read all my emails. Even if I don't email you back, I promise you guys, I read everything. So please know I have your back just as you have mine. I want to get things cleared out. I'm sure YouTube's going to say nothing's going on. What the hell are you talking about? It's an uphill battle here, but thank you so much for supporting the show and helping me climb that mountain. It's because of all of you that we are successful here. It's because of all of you that we're going to try to get Republicans in office here in the midterms and the 2024 elections. We will be here regardless of what happens. As always, hit that like and subscribe button. Folks, have a great weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow here on Supernatural Saturdays.